Yeah, I mean, there is a really, really good chance that there has been sacrifices that were made. But what I'm trying to say is there is no evidence proving that this was an actual deity. Okay. This could have been a ritual or a sacrifice. There's no evidence that it's a sacrifice yet, that these babies were actually born or still alive. They could have been stillborn babies that were used, um, and stuff of that nature. Now, there has been some um, misconceptions too. A lot of people in religious circles like to talk about Milcom. He was an Ammonite deity, and they like to say that he was actually a part of the he was one of the deities that they considered to be Moloch, and that he was getting people were sacrificing infants to Milcom. Now, I did research on that one, and I found out that Milcom, or you can spell it Milcom or Milkom. He was a national deity of the Ammonites. I keep saying the Amorites, but this is the Ammonites. So I want to point that out. Okay. Now, the Ammonites are people who lived east of ancient Israel in present day Jordan. Okay. Now, he's often associated with Moloch in biblical texts. So this is somebody who has been pretty much called out by the Jews, saying that he was Moloch in the biblical text. And he's thought to have been a god of war. He also was, he represented kingship. And he also possibly represented the underworld. The name Molcom derived or could have derived from the root MLK, um, which means king or ruler, similar to other West Semitic deities. Okay. Um, Now, the biblical references to Milcom is 1 Kings 11:5, 7, and 33, and it describes how King Solomon built high places for Milcom as a part of his, as part of his foreign wives' influence. And a lot of people considered that as an act of apostasy. So it goes on from there to Second Kings of 23:13, which is about during King Josiah's religious reforms. Now, and during that time, he destroyed those same high places where Malcolm was worshipped. After that, it also goes into Zephaniah 1:5, which condemns those who swear by both Yahweh and Milcom, which indicates like uh, a continued syncretism between Yahweh worship and Milcom's cult. So um, that's basically the biblical background for that. Okay, but now I want to talk about the archaeological and extra biblical mentions. So this is where I want to really bring it up. Now, the Ammonites inscriptions uh, on the Tel Saran bottle, which was found, um, and this bottle was between the 8th and 7th century BCE. It includes references to Ammonite kings and their devotion to Milcom, okay, which does confirm Milcom's importance to the Ammonite religion. Um, Now, in Assyrian records, Milcom is indirectly mentioned too through reference to Ammonite rulers who had names incorporating the divine element MLK. So that right there has to do with archaeology and what they've found. Okay, and like I said, MLK, they don't really know for sure if it's actually a deity or if it's a ritual. Okay, so um, the Bible suggests a link between Milcom and human sacrifice. Okay, but the thing of it is there's no direct archaeological evidence, and well, they do have some evidence, but it's limited. It's very small. You know what I mean? So that takes us on to other ones. Now, this all just deals with Milcom. Okay, this is the one that everybody claims is supposed to be who Moloch is. Now we go on to Leviticus 18:21, 22 through 5, which warns against giving children to Moloch or MLK, which is sometimes identified with Milcom. Now, these passages implies a practice of child sacrifice, though a lot of scholars debate whether this refers to a specific ritual or just a broader devotion. Okay. After that, you go on to 2 Kings 23:10, okay, which describes the destruction of Topheth, Topheth, in the valley of Hinnom. This is where children were supposedly burned as offerings. Okay, while often linked to Moloch, some scholars suggest it could also relate to Ammonite religious practices. And also, when it comes to the Valley of Hinnom, this is supposed to be the origins of where the Christians came up with their concept of hell. Okay, so there's a lot of deep lore involved in this area. And I've done research on this valley, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's very, very suspicious. It's very conflicting. Okay, you have some religious scholars who say, well, it did exist. It was down here in this valley. And they can even tell you where the borders were and everything. But to this day, they don't know exactly where it was located, or they claim they know where it's located. But not everybody agrees to it. Some say, well, we don't know where the actual location of Topheth was. That was supposed to have these altars, okay, that were mentioned in the Bible. And then you have other people saying, no, we've got it here. It's down here on the south side of Jerusalem's wall. You know, so you have these conflicting outlets that are one side saying we don't know where the exact location is, and then you have another one saying, oh, this is where it is. It's written in the Bible. This is where it is. And they even have a reference of where this was supposed to have taken place that couldn't have been there because the wall would have been farther out, preventing these kind of rituals to take place within, because it would have been within the walls of Jerusalem, and they wouldn't have tolerated that, you know. So with this Valley of Hinnom, that is a very, very interesting topic. A lot of people believe this, and the truth is this is probably one of the stories that has the least amount of credible evidence to back it up. Okay, this is just 100%, in my opinion, this is 100% full of garbage. There's no evidence that backs this up whatsoever. So with that being said, I am going to go on to Jeremiah 49, which is 1 through 3. And it mentions Milcom in a prophecy against Ammon. Okay, now it doesn't explicitly mention human sacrifice. Okay, This just mentions Malcolm as a prophecy against Ammon. That's it. Now, although the Bible associates Malcolm with forbidden practices, there has been no direct archaeological evidence that confirms human sacrifices to Malcolm specifically. Okay, just so everybody understands that. Um, this is where they start pumping out the bullshit. Okay, this is where they start saying, however, given the broader Semitic context, with neighboring cultures such as the Moabites, Komesh is who that is, and Phoenicians, Baal and Tanit, you know, uh, they had sacrificial elements. It is possible that similar practices existed in Ammonite religion. This is the kind of stuff they push. And that's what I've been finding over and over again. Now, Kamash is another one that I do want to go over again. I believe I should have enough time. If I don't, I could probably go ahead and go further with it. And it's like I said, if you guys have any feedback or you want to come on to the show and say something, I've got the links posted. Come in, man. Say your piece. And that's why I've got this show named Untethered. It's about coming in and speaking your mind, especially if you're one of those hardcore religious people who love to insist that you're right and that people like me are just, horrible, evil Satanists who want to promote and propagate Luciferian agendas. I'm just coming on here and calling you out on your bullshit. You're propagating hatred and using your God as an excuse for doing that. Okay, you've not only propagated it, you've pushed this agenda so that you could murder millions and millions and millions of people over thousands of years. Okay, so that is my stance on it. That's why I did this show, because this is it. From this point on, I will never discuss this again. Okay, this is the most disgusting, horrible information that could ever be discussed on the internet or in real life. Okay, and I've heard this over and over and over and over again. And every single person who hears this stuff and they believe this stuff is losing another level of intelligence every time they hear it. Okay, it's just pushing hate, telling people that freaking it's okay to hate, and it's okay to murder, and it's okay to slaughter freaking people by the thousands because freaking you hate them because of their religious beliefs or the color of their skin or their religious ideologies, whatever. That's what this is about. So I can't believe I just finally did that. You know what I mean? So now it's like I said too. If you guys do want to join in and you want to put your input in, you can. And just because you're on Twitch doesn't mean that this is going to affect you, because like I said, this stream is gone after I'm done streaming. So there's no recording that's going to be on there. So if you are on Twitch and you want to come in, click on that link, come on in, and don't worry about it. It's not going to have you after the stream. It's going to be gone. And that actually is pretty cool, because from where I'm at, because I stream across different platforms. So